Hello there. Welcome to the All Purpose Podcast with me, Christopher Nelson II, where I have interesting conversations with interesting people. On today's discussion, I sit down with Avaneish Kumar. He's been a good buddy of mine for just over 3 years now. He and I sit down and talk about everything from his interest in data science and technology to his immigration to the United States when he was a young child. Lastly, talking about our faith. It was a good discussion, and I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's get right on into it. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been really long.
I haven't seen you since my wedding, right?
Yeah,
That's the last
since
time.
your wedding.
Oh, man.
Life has been pretty busy for you specifically, and then me too. I'm just, trying to get work and then school situated. So
Yeah.
that's how it is. How's I guess work been for you, and also your new life, I guess, with your new wife and everything. How's that going?
It's so fantastic. There's been a lot of change this whole year, honestly, all of 2025, but it's been good. We've adapted well. I think we're 4 months in now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've kind of got the whole life situation set up. We did our 2026 planning just yesterday. So we're all set to go for the new year. And so,
Nice.
yeah, I'm super excited about it. Work's been pretty good too. We'll get to that a little bit later on,
Okay.
actually, but it's been good. It's been fantastic. It's been snazzy. I actually had a riddle for you that I wanted to start off with. Hopefully you haven't heard it. If you've heard it, I'm going to be very disappointed. Okay. So please don't disappoint me.
Probably not. Most
Okay.
likely not.
Okay, cool, bro. Okay. You actually have
Okay.
been condemned to death.
Okay, I've been condemned to death.
Yes, this is a great start. I know. It's fantastic. This is exactly how you wanted to start off
Okay.
this discussion. Okay, so you have been condemned to death. You're in this room. There are no ways of escaping.
Right.
There are two guards in there with you.
Okay.
There are two doors in this room. They're both shut. One door leads to guaranteed life.
Yeah.
The other door leads to guaranteed death.
Right.
Okay, because you've been condemned to death. Right. You have one question that you can ask either of the guards. Now, one of the guards always tells the truth.
Right.
The other guard always lies. There's one question you can ask either guard. You don't know which guard is which, by the way.
Right.
There's one question you can ask either guard that guarantees that you can figure out which of the doors leads to life.
Right.
Okay? What is the one question you ask a guard?
Dang, dude. Hold up. I got to think about this. 2 seconds in the... I got a riddle. Give me a second.
That's what I have to do, bro. I have to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. I don't... Because you saw this, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Have you've asked other people this?
No.
No.
Well, I've asked my family.
Okay.
For the record, my sister got this within like 5 minutes.
What?
Crazy. I didn't get this when I saw it for the first time. She got it 5 minutes max.
What the heck?
Tops.
Does your sister have her master's yet?
Almost. She's studying
this
for
is
it.
why, I'm not there yet.
You're older than her.
I know, that's not the point. Okay. One person always lies. One person always says the truth.
Correct.
One is death. One is life.
So you're trying to ask a question that mitigates the impact of a lie that might be told by the
Right.
guard that tells lies.
Trying to think.
I'll tell you that there are 3 parts of your question.
Okay.
And you've nailed 2 of them.
Okay. Wait. What? Okay. I'm gonna say that which is the first part, and then I guess doors probably the second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, dude, just throwing it out there.
This is some
kinda
Harvard
crazy.
level stuff,
I know.
bro. Okay.
It's fascinating. Okay.
Yes. Your question starts with which door?
Yeah. Which door would you pick if you had to live? Could I ask them that question?
You are really close. Yes. You're really close. You're on the right path. That's not the right question. I'll give you 3 official guesses.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'll give you the answer.
All right, because that's the first official guess.
Okay.
Right
That's
there.
your first official guess. Your first official guess is which door would you say?
Would you pick if you were to live?
Okay.
If you wanted to live. I
Which
guess.
door would you pick if you wanted to live?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not it.
That's not it. Okay.
Because it doesn't impact the lie that could be told. Because if you
Okay.
ask the lying guard and you don't know which guard is which, then he'll lie and you won't know.
Because the other ideas I have, they go along the same line, of like living. It's like, so it's just like, of like, I mean, the first question that I asked. So it's just like, I don't know what I would say.
Okay.
Which door? I mean, this is like the most basic thing you could ask them, but it would be like, which door should I walk through? But then one the guard's just gonna lie, and then I'll be dead potentially.
Yeah, it doesn't mitigate the impact of the lie.
Doesn't. That's what I'm thinking. How do I mitigate the lie?
And there's only one question that does that.
Just one.
Just one.
Dang, dude.
No options. There's just one specific question you can ask that does exactly what needs to be done to keep you above ground.
Okay. Back to the question. What am I supposed to?
Okay, you have one more guess. We'll give you one more guess, and I'll tell you the answer.
Yeah, because I've technically used my second guess.
The question is staged with asking about the door, something related to the guard, and something related to an outcome. There's your hint. That's the structure of the question.
Something related to the guard and something related to the outcome.
Yes. Door, guard, outcome.
Okay, so then would I phrase it in a way where it like impacts somebody they care about or somebody they love? Like, could I say it that way? Because I don't know, like, I guess that impacts the guard, right?
You can't blackmail the guards to get your answer.
What are you saying? I'm not allowed to do that? I can't ask them. Like, if, like, say that they're like married or they have like a kid, like, which door would you send your kid through to make sure they live? Like, could I not phrase it that way?
You could, but you don't know if he has a kid.
Bro, you're right.
Now you're just making empty threats.
They all have to have a mom or dad, right? Or no, I can't. I guess I couldn't say that either. It's the same thing.
Okay, final guess. This is a hard one. Like I said, I didn't get it. Somehow my sister got it real quick.
What?
I didn't get it. No.
Can I call you? No, I'm kidding.
Can I phone a friend? No.
Darn it.
Okay, final guess. Something related to the door, guard,
outcome.
In that order.
In that order. I'm stumped, man.
Oh, you're not even gonna get a third guess?
I don't know if I can because they're all so similar to like my first question that I asked, or even the question that I posed you to about the family member, that I don't know how to like. I don't know if I have like a third guess that I can even guess. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, that's fair. You want to know what the answer is?
Please.
The answer about the question you should ask is this. This is the question. Which door would the other guard say leads to freedom?
Whoa.
Okay. And now think about this, right? You ask, let's say you accidentally ask the lion guard, right? Because you don't know. You ask the lion guard, hey, what door would the other guard say leads to freedom?
Right.
He knows that the other guard is the truth-telling guard.
Yeah.
And he knows that he's the lion guard, obviously. So he knows that the truth-telling guard would point to the freedom door.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell you that the other guard would point to the lying door, or to the door of death.
Yeah.
Right. Similarly, if you were to ask the truth-telling guard the same question, he knows he's the truth-telling guard. He knows the other guard is the lying guard. So he's going to tell you that the other guard would tell you the lying door as well. And so at the end of the day, regardless of who you ask, you know which door would lead to death. So you can pick the other door because you know the other door leads to freedom.
Right, exactly.
Genius.
That is.
It's pretty crazy.
If I could do that if I were in that situation, because I'd be losing my mind a little.
Just a little bit. There would be a few other things about that circumstance that might have you a little bit terrified. That's just a little bit. That's understandable. Yeah. Okay.
I assume I'm going to be given a time constraint and everything. And they're like, all right, you got like a minute. You can ask whatever question you want.
Yeah, right.
You got to walk through a door.
Unbelievable. Just don't end up in that situation, bro, because I don't know if I'll be able to come save you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will try not to. Thankfully, I don't think I'll have to, but.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a good effort. Valiant effort.
I tried. I'm not your sister.
Apparently not. Neither am I. Yeah, man. It's what it is. That was fun. What's something that you've been reading, perhaps? Are you a big reader?
I try to, but I haven't like read anything lately. My dad actually, he's gotten some books for me because just like related to mental health, like, well, one of them is mental health. The other one's like, I guess just about like life and like career advice and stuff, like, you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Have you heard that book?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
The best way that I can remember it is that it's by a very like a rich guy, an Asian guy that he's very famous. I forget his name, but I think it talks about like the differences in like life, and it gives you a different perspective on I guess the way that like a rich dad would live or like a poor dad would live, and he uses his own personal life experiences, I'm pretty sure, because his dad, if I'm not mistaken, is like the poor dad and he is the rich dad. And it just talks about that. And then there's another one that my friend recommended to me, my friend Dominic. It's about a Holocaust survivor, and I forget the name of the book. I have it on my Amazon orders. It's one of them.
Nice, bro. It's in the queue.
It's here. And it just it's also talking about his perspective in life, and just like I think it's talking about like how like his own experiences, and how like you can help like use that to just find out like what you want to like, I guess, like end up doing in life, you know, just give you a different perspective on what you would want to do. Because that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is honestly like the end goal of what I want my career to be, or like what it is that I want to actually end up doing, because that's something that's still unanswered for me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the last time we talked, you said that you were switching your major to finance.
I was thinking about it.
Okay.
I don't know if I will. Just, you know, I have no clue like what, because that field is like a very like, I guess, interesting field to me, but I think it's honestly something more of a hobby, I would say. I think that was something that, you know, you have those phases, I guess you could say, of like, you like this hobby the most, this like these couple months, and then it switches. I think to me, it's something that I'm really interested in, but I don't think I can make a career or profession out of it. Yeah, I think if I am to stick with the career, I think it'll end up being in, like right now, I think it would end up being something either, I think I've told you in the past too, either related to cybersecurity or data science or accounting.
Like me, like
Yeah,
your boy.
like you.
Okay, fair enough.
Between those three is what I've narrowed it down to. Now it's just about figuring out what specifically that I would like to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable. You're going to have to tell me a little bit more about cybersecurity and how you ended up getting into tech and stuff like that. Because you took like a programming certificate of some sort, didn't you? To like,
Yeah, I started doing the Google IT certification, but then like I found out that it really doesn't have any sort of power, or it doesn't hold much value in the field. So I was just like, honestly, I'll stop. I have, I'm very seriously is the right way to say it, thinking about starting the information technology degree, the Bachelor's of Science, through Western Governors University, because I have roughly half the classes done for it so far. Because that's what I would transfer over. And the classes that I would have left to do would be like they're certification based, and it's like the capstone, I think, and a couple other classes related to that degree. But the reason I bring that up is because it allows me to go into either data science or cybersecurity. It would allow me to either or. So it gives me that option to still be able to choose even after the degree is over.
yeah, that's interesting stuff. Interesting stuff, man. So with that industry in particular, what drew you to the field of data science and computers and tech and all that stuff? How'd you get into that at first?
So I think puzzles, like I love solving things. I've always been somebody who's, I guess, like that, just a problem solver. So when it came to, I guess, technology, I would honestly just watch like YouTube videos about it, like about like the first computer, or just like the history behind tech, or when it comes to like people building computers, or say like even one of my like electronics or something broke, like because like right now my back glass on my phone is broken, or my battery's at like 68% capacity, I think, somewhere around there. So I just, like watching videos on how can I fix that? Also, my computer right now, the hinges are broken. So I like to watch like how-to videos, just like, okay, how can I fix this? Like, this is fun to me. I like to do this. And in the classes that I have taken so far, it is related to that. It's like they give me a problem and I am supposed to either, I am supposed to write like different classes of code that all work together to solve this said problem, depending on what the problem is. And to me, that's fun. And then, so with cybersecurity, I think it's a secure career. Like, it's, especially with what's going on now, I think I will always have a lot of job security. And another thing, it's because I don't think security really exists in the space of technology. So if I can, I guess, help myself by learning how to do it, I'll at least be able to protect myself and the people close to me. And then also, if I'm able to bring something to the table that is actually able to secure, like, honestly, our personal information, like, you keep it simple to that, our personal information, because the majority of it, if you really wanted to, you could find out. It is not secure at all.
Really?
Seriously, like, you could probably, if a person wanted to, they could take 30 minutes out of their day to find out where you lived, or to find out your profession, or to find out like literally anything that, because you are very well, like, you are on social media, and like I assume you have a pretty good LinkedIn that you're fairly active on. So it's like they can use that sort of information to find out where you live, honestly. And if they wanted to go deeper, I assume there is a way on the dark web to find out like your other personal information that you don't really want people to find out.
Yeah, it's crazy how vulnerable our information is these days. It's cool to see how society adapts to new tech, because, I mean, like, in my particular field, right, government, I've always wondered to myself why it's so hard for, like, the federal government, for instance, to change its tech and upgrade its tech so that their systems run better. And then you realize, wait a second, all the data transfer that has to be done, all the time it takes to prepare for implementation and then train people on all that software stuff, it takes a crazy amount of time. So it's not surprising that like the federal government still has like manual physical disks. I don't even know what they're called because that's how old they are, that they store information on. It's just incredibly hard to get that information over to new software. So, and then when you actually do, you got to figure out how to protect it, right? So there's the data security tie-in. It's like, okay, now we've moved all this information up to date in a new software system. How do we keep that safe from the potential threats that people are figuring out how to implement and tackle in today's society, if that makes sense. It's just a complicated thing. So I'm always interested to see what people who like tech think about all that stuff. It's interesting how you got into that.
I would say I'm also mainly leaning towards cybersecurity more.
So you're going to be my guy.
Probably, most likely. I just want to protect myself. Like, when it comes to it, the main thing is protecting myself. And then I also see a lot of opportunity in it because it's just going to grow. The internet is just going to grow. Technology is just going to grow. We need to find a way to actually keep ourselves secure.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fair enough, bro. Yeah, it's interesting. But that's not what you do right now. You're not doing...
Nope.
No, what do you do right now?
Right now, I am working for a marketing company. It's called Premium Retail Services. And what my my job role is to go on into the Walmart supercenters in our area. There's one in Castle Rock, a couple in Denver, one in Highlands Ranch. Just go into them and then go sell their phones there through their phone carriers that they have. So whether it be AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, those are the postpaid ones, or any of the prepaid ones that they have the kiosks for over there.
Nice, bro. What's an interesting thing about that particular job that you found out?
Honestly, finding the best deals.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
That would probably be like the one thing that is interesting about it. But besides that, it's a pretty straightforward job. Like, there's nothing like unique about it, I guess. Or to me, it's a job that I like want to lay me over until I can get a job that I'm passionate about, or so like interested about, to the point where like I wake up happy and ready to attack the day and like go to do this certain job.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that. That's interesting, man. Interesting. Yeah, hopefully that's a good tide you over job till you get something settled in the data world. But I think what's something interesting that we haven't really talked about much that you've mentioned a few times in the past when we've talked is your background in coming to the US.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting to me. We haven't talked about that because as far as I know from what you've told me, you were super young, you were born outside of the country and your family moved here when you were pretty young. What was that whole experience like for you?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember it the best. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But what I do remember is that I was roughly 4-ish, 5-ish. Yeah, I think I was 4, going to turn 5 the next year. Because we flew over here in... Actually, no, I was already 5. I keep mixing it because we flew over here in the June or July of 2010. And my sister was already born and I was born in 2005. So, already 5. And I remember like just having to leave school, everything. And then I come here and it's completely different. It's like, actually, we take that back. It wasn't July, it was January or February, because the most important thing that I remember about my first time coming here is that we were hit with the nastiest snowstorm possible. And I'm like, what is this? Because I've never seen snow before. Never had seen. So I'm just like, what the heck?
What country did you come over from?
India.
Okay,
I was born in India, in the northwestern part of India, in a state called Jharkhand. And I lived there for a little bit, and then I lived in New Delhi where my grandparents were. And then I also partially lived in a place called Bangalore, which is more south. I don't remember the state that's in. That's the city, I'm pretty sure. And my dad, he used to work for, okay, I don't know why it's blanking right now, but the company, they would essentially contract their employees out to other companies. So he was actually, he got the opportunity to work for Shell in Europe. He went to the Netherlands for that, from when I remember him telling me about it. And then he came to the United States to start working for Dish Network. And then, he got that opportunity. And then that was stable enough to where he decided, okay, let's get everybody over. So he stayed about a year before he gave us like the go to, all right, you can come over. So we got here, and during that snowstorm, I still remember the apartment that we lived in is like half a mile down the road, actually. It's called The Retreat. It actually used to be called like Emily or something when we moved there for the first time. And it was just, I honestly don't remember much about it because I was like just going into kindergarten. I remember that I had an accent,
I'm sure that was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
My English was very, very broken.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. Like I remember just like compared to it, like me being in India, like life here, like it felt calmer and just better. And I don't know what the difference was, but I just liked it better here. I don't remember really making many friends that first year. Just, I don't know. Maybe I might have had any. I don't really remember. Then in 2011, we had to actually go back to India for a year. Because I honestly don't know. I could give you like a couple potential reasons. It could be like to my parents, like religious based or something, or maybe related to my dad's job security. I'm not sure. But we had to go back for a year. So I did first grade in Bangalore, in the city that I mentioned to you earlier. Then we came back here in 2012. And then second grade and on, I've been here. And that's what I remember is like, I would always come home like from school, goof around for like until probably like 7-8 p.m., go eat dinner, rinse and repeat. It was just fun. Like I'd made a lot of friends, and just growing up here, my accent slowly went away.
Yeah, you don't say.
Yeah. People say that they can, if you listen closely enough, you can tell that I don't have like the fully American or Coloradan accent, but I don't care.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah. I don't know if people would say I have a Coloradan accent either, but hey, maybe it's there. I just haven't noticed. My mom is from Kenya, obviously.
Right.
So when I was growing up, I always thought her accent was pretty normal.
Yeah.
Because it sounded articulate. But then as I got older, she was like, nah, you can kind of tell a little bit more. And she made it pretty clear. No, I don't really have a prototypical American accent. And I was like, whoa.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? My whole life? What's going on? I thought this made sense. No. Okay. But that's interesting. Yeah, fair enough. What was the largest adjustment for you maybe a few years after moving here, if you remember any more of that?
Cultural, probably, just because Indians just have, like, because they're mainly Hindu, like my family, my parents are still today. And then related to that, like, there was always this negative sort of, I don't know like what the word for it is, like a negative sort of like thought behind like how Indians smell,
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
With that, their food is very strong. It has a very, very strong smell. So to me, my mom would always pack me lunch. Looking back, like that was, like the best thing ever, because a lot of people like have never gotten that. And it's like that mothers love to be able to receive like just even something as small as like a packed lunch is just really nice to have. I was like embarrassed to have that out because whenever I did, I remember people making comments about it or joking about it, like, oh, what's that smell? Like, what's going on? So I had a knack for honestly like throwing that food away because I didn't appreciate it. And I would always get like the hot lunch at school. Before Michelle Obama ruined it, partially because halfway through second grade, I swear that food went through some horrible changes.
Oh no!
I don't know what happened.
Oh no! So sad, bro. A whole Avanesh's childhood was just ruined because of the change in experience of food at school. Wow, sad day. Wow.
Yes,
crazy.
I don't even remember, dude. I just remember the food quality just getting worse and worse and worse and worse slowly.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was the biggest change is the food. After a little bit, I kind of just was like, all right, whatever. Like I realized like it really doesn't matter what people think about you. Like I took care of my personal hygiene, showered every day like a normal human being. Sure, my food has a strong smell. If you have a problem with it, you can walk away. You can go eat at a different table. I'm not going to change that about me if that annoys or hurts you in some sort of way. Like, oh, I'm sorry. You can leave. Thank you. That and friends also, like seeing like American families, how they operated compared to like my family, it was a little different. So it was just not like a change that I think was bad or anything or something I had to make. It was just understanding that I'm different and my family's a little different for how we operate, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. What age were you when you kind of realized that thing that you just mentioned, the whole idea that it doesn't really matter what other people think about me or my culture or what I eat. I'm just going to identify with my culture in that way and not necessarily care what people who aren't of my culture think about that. At what age do you think you were when that settled?
I would say I was pretty rebellious against it until I want to say like middle school. Between like 6th through 8th grade is when I like slowly started to understand like it doesn't really matter. So when I was about 11, 12 to until I was 14, 15, like those 3 years, I was like, all right, like it really is not that big of a deal. And, there are negative aspects, I still think, to my culture in some ways that they operate. I chose to leave that behind and only keep the positive parts about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, no perfect people group exists anywhere on the planet Earth. So yeah, that makes sense. That's understandable. But that's cool. So that's a pretty young age, man. You know, there are obviously people in high school and college age, young adults our age, who are not necessarily stable in their identity that way yet. I guess that's a good shift over to perspective and life perspective. So you said your parents were Hindu. You grew up Hindu, probably, I presume.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Nowadays, I think there are three main branches that people generally focus on in their personal life, either philosophy, religion, or theology. Everyone falls into one of those three groups when shaping and grounding their perspective. Right now, what do you think your perspective on life centers around of those three?
When it comes to religion, it is, Christianity. I have followed that since about freshman year. I started to learn about it, is the best way to put it, when I was about a freshman. COVID hit, so I wasn't really able to go to church with my friends, and I didn't really dig deep into it or learn about it on my own, because it was still fresh to me, and I was being an idiot, honestly, pretty simple, simply put. But I got my priorities more so straight when things started to lift. I was able to see my friends again. I was able to see my best friend Dominic, who actually is the one who helped me come to Christ. Well, mainly God, but yeah. I was able to go to church with him very often so after that, and just the more and more that I was here, I was like, okay, this is the definite truth, and this is what I want to follow for the rest of my life. So come junior year of high school, about around Christmas time, it was a couple of days away from Christmas, either the December 22nd or 23rd of 2021 or 20, I think, yeah. Yes, 21. I ended up getting baptized, and it was actually by his hands, by Dominic. He was able to get in the water with me and help me get baptized, and it was a really cool experience, and I was very grateful for that I was able to have that done. And it was actually at the Bear Valley Church of Christ. I believe it's off of Wadsworth.
Interesting, man. Nice. Congrats, I guess.
Thank you.
First off, I'm sure that your parents might not have been as fond of that as you and your friends were. Yeah. How did you manage that whole relational balance? Because I presume they're still Hindu.
Yes.
And you're obviously not anymore.
No.
How did that whole balance play out for you personally?
So when they found out, I got grounded for 6 months. I wasn't really allowed to do anything besides school. I'd, just come home. I kept my relationship just by talking to my friends on the phone. We'd rather play some sort of games, video games, or just talk about whatever on the phone. Me and Dom, we have very similar interests when it comes to sports. I guess we're a little nerdier, geek-y about superheroes and stuff, so that's cool. And then of course, when it comes to religion, I would also ask him questions about Christianity whenever I could, just because I wanted to learn more about it. And he had done a very good amount of research, and if he wasn't able to answer any questions, his dad, who has been through a similar journey, because his father's family was technically Catholic / Christian, or I think potentially Baptist, but then he realized that he didn't want to be that way. He wanted to just follow Christ in a different path, because he found out that, what those guys teach isn't exactly, so to speak, biblical. And then he went on his own path, and that's a whole different story. But what I'm trying to say is that his journey with Christ was kind of similar to mine, because he kind of was looked down upon by his own family and stuff like that, and he still persevered. So that was cool, and I would also ask him questions about that, because it's nice to be able to relate to someone. After that, it comes down to my parents just being a little disrespectful. They're just look down on me a little, oh, you become so American, you forgot all about us.
Yeah, understandable.
Complete, because to them it's the white man's religion. They don't understand that there's honestly if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, there's a very good chance that Christianity existed in India before it did here. Okay.
You mean in the United States?
Yeah.
Here, I would bet that that's the case.
Just because, like, you know, the United States came to be officially in 1774, right? And I want to say that it existed in early India, like in the early like thousands or even like the hundreds of AD.
Yeah, probably. Well, because obviously you had the period after Jesus' ascension, right? So like AD 33-ish, right? So that's when the disciples went out into Judea, like immediate Israel, and then they started going out into all the earth in the decades after that. So it went down into Africa, went up to Europe, went into Asia probably. Yeah. So people didn't come over to the United States till when did Columbus first come
1492.
over? Right. Yeah. So at a minimum, that probably would have been the first chance they would have even had to come over with that group of people. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely was in other places in the world before the United States.
Because I know that it existed in other parts of Asia before, so I know it had to have in some sort of way in India. So that's just, I didn't like outright say that, but I'm like, guys, it existed there before it did here. Like, what are we talking about? It's not even where it was formed. The people weren't even entirely white.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, well, yeah, technically speaking, biologically speaking.
Biologically.
That's true, right? I mean, you have people in the Middle East who were Christian, the first Christians. So, I mean, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say they didn't have fair skin, because if you look, they do. Not all of them, but they do. But it's just like, it's a completely different culture. Like, you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
the whole race element of Christianity is so interesting to me because, you know, you see those paintings and the murals that the Europeans drew, and they have like white Jesus and white disciples and all that stuff. And that really triggers some people. Understandably so. You know, obviously Jesus was not biologically white. No. But something fun that I learned relatively recently is that we really have to look at history in its context. Yeah. The reason why a lot of these paintings, these European paintings of Jesus are white, not because they necessarily thought he was white, it's because they grew up in a culture that was small, it was tight-knit. People rarely, masses of people, like most people, rarely traveled more than a few miles away from their hometown. Right. And so they only know what people look like based on the people that they see around them.
Exactly.
You know, and so when you're going to draw someone, if you're going to draw Jesus, which I wouldn't personally recommend, right, by the way, if you're going to do that and you're in this person's position with their knowledge, how else are you going to draw Jesus? You know, you don't have
another way to.
Not necessarily, right? Maybe you could make the argument that they could have read the Bible and there might be some descriptions of skin tone that they could have maybe thought about when they were drawing it. But I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of other factors to consider there, other than that they were intentionally trying to make Jesus someone he's not. That might be the case for some people, right? Maybe some people were intentionally trying to sabotage the historical Jesus who was a real person here on earth. But I mean, at the end of the day, we can't judge motivations, and we do know that there are good reasons why they would have done something like that. So all I have to say is I always find the race, Christianity, historical aspect very interesting.
Yeah, it's just really funny. It's like, guys, like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There you go. So that was their perspective on it. What's your perspective on Christianity? If I was a non-believer, which I'm not, obviously. Right. If I were, and I came up to you, I was like, hey, I see something about you that shows me you're a Christian. Right. What is Christianity? How would you summarize that?
How would I summarize Christianity?
Yeah. I'm a curious non-believer looking to know more information.
Okay. So the best way that I would summarize it is honestly by just like describing Jesus to them in a way, like explaining to them like how he is God, you know, he is God. He humbled himself into becoming man. He lived a righteous life, did not commit a single sin, and he died for us so that he could bear upon all his sins for us, and resurrected, of course, after, to show that he could defeat that, and explain to them that like if he like I don't know, that we are also, that's one part, but I would also try to explain to them that we're all broken and fallen people, that we since the beginning have committed sin since the apple, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like trying to explain that, like, if you, like, even my own perspective, like how I only see negativity and darkness in this world, like genuine, like if you like think deep enough about it, no like light comes from this world, in my opinion. I was only able to see light come from God. And that's why like I saw like, okay, this is clearly the truth because I see good come from this, like from what I can tell good is, you know, because I don't have the definite answer of good. I think only God understands good to that sort of extent. But from what I understood, I was like, okay, like this clearly has to be the truth because this is clearly what like that sort of light, that sort of good comes from. So I guess I would try to explain to this person that like we are fallen, we are sinful, and the only way out of this sort of life that ends up leading to death and eternity in hell is through this faith in God. And the reason that I believe in him is because he humbled himself into becoming like one of us. And he lived this life righteously, did not commit a single sin. And then he died for us to bear upon all those sins for us. And then he defeated death by living again. And people saw him. It wasn't just like, oh, somebody off the street that saw him. Roughly, if I'm not mistaken, 300 or 500 eyewitnesses that saw him, including his disciples. And like to me, it's like, well, this man just defeated death. Well, like to them, right in front of their eyes. And I believe it because to me, there's enough evidence to prove it. So it's like, okay, whatever he's doing right. Like, if you want to dumb it down to that, like, clearly he's doing something right. So then, like, go into, like, okay, what does he follow? What is it that he does? And try to, I guess, find a way to how you can honestly just become a follower of him. And that's how, like, I understood it in the beginning. It's like, I was like, okay, all right, what's going on? He just came back from the dead. Wait a minute.
That's insane. Yeah.
So it's like I was able to understand it in that way, and I would try to help this person, like a non-believer, understand it. And like, I mean, like it's the blueprint is right there, okay. And if you can find a way to honestly like try to follow that, I think you would find a sort of enlightenment, a sort of peace that you cannot get from this world. Because I've gotten a sort of peace that I think that I would say is because of my belief and faith in God. I cannot find it anywhere else. I've tried so many things. I am not a good person if you want to look at it that way, but the only thing that has given me this sort of peace and calmness and just happiness is God. And I would try to explain that to this non-believer and see where it would get me, because they're going to have questions. You know, like there's people that will ask me this random what ifs and I'm like, what? How does that even make sense?
What's the craziest question you've gotten about that?
Honestly, like in the moment, I was so heated. I don't even like, you know, I'm not like yelling at the person, but I'm just like trying to stay calm because I'm like, I'm going to lose like my brain right now.
Oh no.
I think it was the what ifs around Jesus's death and his resurrection. It's like, well, what if they just like took his body away, put somebody else in the tomb that looked like him, you know, and then he like walks up and the people start acting, oh, it's Jesus. Or like, what if they like bribed, you know, like part of that, what if they bribed the guards, do whatever, and then I'm like, what? Guys, give me a second.
Oh no. Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with crazy what ifs because I've seen videos about people talking about their insane what if stories. I'm like, I would leave at that point. I don't even know what to say at that point.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's interesting the questions that people can come up with trying to question the legitimacy of Christianity. I don't really like thinking about it as Christianity because it makes it too religious. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of why I broke it out into the three categories: philosophy, religion, and theology. I think of religion more so as like rituals and things you have to do to appease the God that exists.
Good, that's fair.
If you're not in that category, which is a very traditional, typically Roman Catholic category, and you believe that Jesus Christ is God, you're a Christian, you probably fall into the theology camp. Now, it doesn't mean that people are good theologians a lot of the time, okay? But you're in that camp, right? If you're one of those maybe non-denominational other Protestant Christians who is more like a person who recognizes the personal relationship aspect of relationship with God instead of just here are the things I have to do to appease him. So it's always interesting to me to see the questions people come up with, because it's so much of that is based on an understanding of Christianity as this sort of religion and this moral construct that people have to abide by in order to appease God, even though there's a massive issue beyond that they have to deal with, and that's the fact that they have sin inside of themselves, and everyone has sin inside of themselves at all points in time during their life, which is the one thing that actually unites humanity. And if we were humble enough to realize that, we actually might be a lot more united than we are now. It's hard to unite people around a shared negative, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's really the tie. And so to me, it's like, I believe that Jesus Christ is God. He rose from the dead. He ascended into heaven after dying, right? But the questions that people ask that center around the physical events are just completely missing the point.
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone knows that morality exists. Some people don't like to admit that that's a good piece of evidence that God exists. But if you think about it more broadly, every single people group believes in a morality of some sort. And everyone by default wants to be in the category of, when they wrong someone, of receiving forgiveness. But at the same time, also by default, we want justice to be done to people who wrong us. And so it's like people are naturally inconsistent that way. But what does that show us? It shows us that everyone has a standard of right, wrong, good, bad, true, false. And everyone naturally wants forgiveness when they do wrong and wants justice when other people do wrong to them. And so that literally is a reflection of the God of the Bible. It's arguably not a description of any other God, any other religion, right? And so that's kind of how you know it's man-made. If it's a religion that doesn't effectively balance the justice and forgiveness of God, both of those are actually related to his justice, right? Because if he does justice on someone who does evil, giving them eternal condemnation, that's completely earned with someone's actions. But if he does justice by forgiving them, then there has to be someone who actually pays the price that person needed to have paid for them, right? The wages of sin is death. That's Romans 6. And so Christianity is the only religion, again, quote unquote, that actually deals with that reality appropriately and rationally. And so these are conceptual conversations, but people like to minimize it down to okay, Jesus, maybe he was a person, even though 99% of scholars agree he was real.
He was definitely real.
Yeah.
We have too much evidence to prove that.
Exactly. And so they'll be like, well, okay, if he was real, I don't believe that he rose from the dead. There's no physical reason for me to believe that. There's no scientific reason for me to believe that. Well, it's like, all right, bro, but look at the things he said that he did, and just zoom out and realize how grand life is, how big it is, and that every single person deals with this one issue. And that he's the only one who actually appropriately tackled that issue. And so, I mean, for me, that's a pretty major selling point for.
Yes. And I say that part of it, of believing his death and resurrection, his resurrection mainly, it takes faith, okay? Like, I'm not going to tell you over here, like, oh, like, because I wasn't there. Like, I can't give you my eyewitness testimony because I wasn't there. It takes a little bit of faith. But also, I see it because, like you said, it's the only one that's different from all the others. All the others that I have seen so far, because I haven't read into every single other religion in the world, is that they focus on the aspect that you have done wrong and you have to pay for your wrongs, but you are capable of righting those wrongs. Christianity is the only one that tells you you are not. You are not. It is only God that can do it for you. And it's like the other religion, that's what I think. It's like they focus more on this like the man aspect, and it has this like egotistical aspect to it of thinking like, oh yeah, I am good enough, I can do this. And also, if you look at it, their afterlife, their heaven is filled with manly desires. Like, fully. I mean, we can talk about a certain one that talks about how you're going to have unlimited wives and you're going to be able to do whatever you want with them. I'm like, what? Are you seriously telling me that you believe this is real? This is true? What?
I mean, yeah, there's just certain stuff out there, man. I love that you put your finger on it, though. All other religions center on people doing something that they believe pleases God, which is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, if you believe God is an eternal, totally self-sufficient, one-of-one perfect being, how are you, as the exact opposite of that, going to do anything that could possibly appease him? And then, but like the real death trap is this religious moralism. I kind of mentioned it earlier, where it's like, okay, if I do more good things than I do wrong things, then I've got to be on God's good side, right? Especially if the things that I've done that are good are more recent than the things that I've done that are bad. Right. It's like God has some sort of recency bias or something like that. God exists outside of time, bro.
I don't think he cares.
Just because you've done something good at one point in time doesn't erase the fact that you did something bad earlier on in time. And so you still have to deal with that. Yeah. But people have created their own perspectives that erase bad with good, and that just doesn't make sense.
No.
Because time is time. Like the person, let's say you harmed someone at some point in time. Like that doesn't, you doing something good now, even for them, doesn't change the fact that you did something at that point in time that genuinely hurt them.
Exactly.
So that circumstance still exists. It's just so inconsistent, but people are so stuck on physical stuff and all these questions about practical things and actions and events that they don't even just zoom out and realize, wait a second, I'm in some serious trouble here if someone who's actually capable of forgiving me doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you put your finger on that, bro. It's pretty interesting stuff to me.
I try to explain it, but whenever I try to explain it, it's like so hard to put into words. Because I'm trying to understand it from like a non-believer standpoint of view and try to like explain it from their point of view. It's just very difficult to do.
Well, it is, yeah. Well, because scripture is pretty clear about the fact that people who don't believe have a threefold issue. Okay, they're not able to believe because they're dead spiritually.
Right.
They actively are suppressing the truth that God has put within every single person, within their spirit and their heart. And they've been blinded by the God of this world from realizing that. So that is the issue, right? So it's threefold. And so that's why they struggle to believe the truth. It's for those three reasons. And that's not something that anyone can change. It's only something that God can change. And so he uses us to do that as the means to do that, which is an absolute gift. But that's something we do have to realize when we're interacting with them.
Yeah. But, you know, it comes with it. It's something that I guess one should expect when they're trying to talk to someone who doesn't, I guess, know the truth to the point that we do. And that's okay. You know, just try to, in my eyes, I see it as I'm just trying to help them because they are in a way sick. And I'm just trying to help them find the cure, which is available to all of us. Most people just don't know it.
Yeah, everyone's sick. Everyone is poisoned with sin.
Yep.
And so that's why Jesus is the great physician.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Can cure anything and everything.
Yep. There you go, man. Well, Avaneish, thank you for a phenomenal discussion. Appreciate you being one of the very first guests on the pod. We'll have you back on at some point in the future.
Great. Sounds good. Well, I'm really happy that I got to talk to you. This was a very great conversation, and I'm glad that I was one of your first guests, and I hope to be back on here soon.
Yes, sir. All righty. Appreciate you, bro.